This conference will now be recorded.
It's 4 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Hanson Board of Health. Present members Lean Diaz, Kevin Perkins, and Dennis O'Connell. First item is food permit fines.
Yes, so we've had a couple of places that have done their food permit late, and by late I mean yesterday. And I think they needs to be fines if they're not permitted by July 1st. So I send out notifications starting in April. So this year I did it a little late. I did April 29th. I sent it out. And I have sent some of these people reminders 8 times. And they still, like Gil has had to go to these places like 2 and 3 times. I think if they're fined, if they're not permitted, because their permits expire June 30th. They run July 1st to June 30th. If they're fined, if it's not effective July 1st, I think if there's a fining system in place, they're more apt to get on the stick and do it when it's supposed to be done.
Were they all open, Teresa?
Yes, yes. Yep, that's why I waited a little. Usually I send it out the beginning of April, but I waited till the end of April because I thought, well, maybe, if they're not open or, the business is slow or whatever. The only place that currently didn't do their permit is J&R's, and that's because they're not open. They're redoing the inside, and they explain that, so that's fine. But other places, it's just because I don't know why. But they've been operating without a license. So they're not supposed to do that.
And they're still
operating.
I'm sorry. Go again?
They're operating without a valid license now?
The last person just got permitted yesterday.
Okay.
But they have been for 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's not for lack of trying. Again, I've emailed them umpteen times. Gil has gone over there umpteen times.
So this isn't something like they didn't receive any notification. They've been notified. They acknowledge the fact they've been notified, and they just failed to do what they're supposed to do.
They've been notified. It's the same thing, same way we do it every year.
Yep.
It goes to the email of the person that filled out the application the previous year.
Yep.
And literally, some of them I've sent 8 times since the end of April.
Okay. Is this something we're... Go ahead, Dennis.
I was wondering if we had an idea of what kind of penalty you want to institute.
I don't know. What do you guys think? It's got to be something substantial, like.
How much is the permit?
Every place is different. It depends on the location.
Is it based on capacity?
It's based on seats or square footage, depending. Like a store would be based on square footage, where most restaurants, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, is based on seats.
What's the range?
Let me see. Well, food establishments is $125. Food service permits go from $100 to $250. So it's anywhere from $100 to $250, $260, depending. Like if you did like $25 a day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, the idea behind it is these people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, and motivate them to do it, or they're going to pay the price. I mean,
it's getting worse every year.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would need a vote.
The
you
next
guys are ready to vote.
Before we vote on that?
Yeah.
Teresa?
Yeah. I'm listening.
The next question is, if they don't pay the fine, at what point do we close them? If they're 10 days past, 15 days past, 30 days past?
I think if they don't have a food permit on July 1st, they should be closed. That's me. I don't think there's.
We don't have that in the bylaws, right?
No, it could be a Board of Health rule.
We would really have to cover both things, the fine and the closing or notifying them if they're not permitted.
So maybe like after 5 days. So if by July 5th, if you're not permitted, you've already been, if you go with 25, you've already been fined $125 and now you're shut down.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
That sounds, that sounds reasonable.
It sounds like you're going to be busy on July 3rd.
Well, I mean, it's just like it literally is so easy. All you have to do is click on the link that I send you. Everything's pretty much already filled in unless something has changed from the previous year. And you have to submit your licenses, your ServSafe and your allergen and your insurance and pay. It's not difficult.
And it's the same thing every year, right?
On the wall.
Nothing changes on this. It's the same thing every year, so it's not like they can say we didn't know how to do it. It's a routine thing.
Yep.
Yeah. What about, let me ask you, is it so we don't have people saying, oh, we weren't aware of this, we didn't know about the fines, and people looking for us to not fine them? Is this something we could send out to all of them that you have, all of them that you have on file? Okay.
Yep. Saying starting, your next food permit renewal, if it's not done, you get $25 a day fine and you're shut down after 5 days. On July 5th, you're shut down.
I don't have an issue with that. I'll make a motion to, how do we want to structure this? Entertain a motion, $25 a day. Is that what we had discussed?
$25 a day after, starting July 1st.
Okay, I will make a motion to assess a $25 penalty fee per day after July 1st.
Starting July 1st.
Starting July 1st with a cap of 5 days, and
then you're shut down.
And then the business will be shut down if it's not paid and brought into compliance.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it, but we should make clear that it's a food permit.
I'm sorry.
That wasn't part of your motion?
Yep. To specify for food permits.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'll second that.
And we'll roll call. Kevin?
Yes.
Eileen?
Yes.
And I agree also, yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Makes my life a lot easier.
Next, we have the pre-registration issue for the HHW.
Right. That was Arlene.
Pre-registration or the whole? Yeah. So it's not just the pre-registration. So our hazardous waste day is coming up on September the 12th. Tonight's Board of Selectmen's meeting, we're asking if we can use the parking lot at the Hanson Middle School because it will be 4 towns this year. In the past, it's been 3 towns. It's been Abington, Whitman, and Hanson. And this year, Middleborough is going to join. So we just really have to verify the site, whether we can use the middle school, and if not, then maybe McQuon. But the middle school we thought would be better in terms of traffic because there's only been one other hazardous waste day held on the South Shore so far this year. Everything else has been canceled. We're expecting probably 300 cars. We wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be a traffic problem and that we could potentially set up 2 lines to keep people moving and also do pre-registration so people are registered to come at a certain time. Since we're the host town, generally the health agent from the 3 towns would show up, so it would actually be the 4 towns. But I think Whitman has a DPW department, and I think Middleborough has a DPW department, and I think each one of them is sending 2 people that would help with traffic control. And this is going to be social distancing, I don't think people are going to be able to get out of their cars. In the past, they've gotten out of their cars to take whatever is out of the trunk, and I think this year they're probably just going to be told to put it in their trunk, open the trunk, and then somebody else would take it out. They just have to prove that they live in the town. Hanson is given a blanket authorization, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
there are a couple towns that require authorizations, but Hanson has given a blanket, so that I can't imagine people are going to want to go someplace else if they can go here. There is going to be, and I'm not sure if it's the company yet. I've talked to Claire, but she's on vacation till Monday. I believe the company is going to be doing the registration, but I have to clarify that with her. But it's once we find out if we're going to be able to do it at the middle school. That's the point now, because we've done it in the past up at the hospital, and that area is just too small. We would never get the cars in there. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions.
No, that sounds good to me.
And as soon as we get authorization from Board of Selectmen, the flyers will be printed and then sent out, so people in Hanson are aware of it, and they'll be aware of what we take, and if there's any additional costs. Like sometimes if you don't get an authorization, you have to pay for it yourself. And we also want people to not bring things that they can bring to the transfer station, because it's an additional cost for us. And it's stuff that we shouldn't have to pay for if we can bring it to the transfer station.
Yeah, actually, excuse me, on the paperwork that I got, the contract from ACV Environmental, they had antifreeze and recyclable waste oil, and I blocked it off. As well as, I think they had latex paint on it too, but I whited those out because
Yep, I think I did
bring that
that
for free to the
so
transfer.
they'll know.
Be paying for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got the insurance rider, right?
No, I don't think I did. I have the contract, but I don't, hold on. I have the contract, I don't. Pardon me?
I forwarded you a message from Claire, and at the bottom of that message was the
An email?
insurance coverage. Yeah, in an email.
When did you send it to me?
That was, we were having a discussion last week, and you had told me to get on the agenda, and I asked you, remember I forwarded you the email from Claire that she had already talked to Kenny about it? At the bottom of that was the insurance rider.
Oh, I probably didn't even notice it. All right, I'll look for it.
I'll send it again.
Was it from Claire?
It was from Claire, yeah.
Okay.
It was July 31st.
Oh, good, thank you. That makes it easier.
Oh, yeah. I printed it out. And it's actually going to be 9 to 1. We would need to be there at 8:15 to set up. I think that's when the company's coming to set up.
Oh, there it is.
Sounds like somebody's driving by. I don't know what that is. Yes, that's. Does anybody have any other questions?
I do.
Yeah.
The only email I have from the 31st is regarding membership dues.
Nope, it was before that. This was at 2:20. No, you know what? She sent it to me on the 31st. I'm sorry.
Oh, so you sent it after that. Okay.
I sent it to you after that. I did.
Yeah, I'll look.
Yes, it was from her on that date. It would have been last week because you were asking me about putting it on the agenda for the Board of Selectmen meeting.
Can you just resend it?
No,
Yeah,
I have it. Yep, I got it.
I would resend it.
Yep, I know, I have it.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
So, okay. Any other questions? Does anybody, huh?
Go ahead.
No, I was saying, did anybody have any other questions about this?
I don't believe so.
No, I don't. I think it's
Oh.
a good thing to get that rolling again because everyone's been home cleaning out the garages and basements, and I'm
Right.
sure there's going to be a big demand for it. So,
Oh, the other thing, it says here there's roll-offs for trash and cardboard, and a porta potty will be delivered so that we don't need access to the school. It would just be the parking lot.
I would
I
assume that's
think
just
that's
for the
it.
people that would be for the people that are working there because no one's getting out of their cars. It's just going to be set up like a
Absolutely.
drive-through, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm assuming that we'll have a good turnout. And then once I get any more information from Claire, I will pass it on.
And you said that we couldn't use the McQuan School parking lot. It's not big enough. You know what I mean?
No, it's not big enough. I mean, if we have to, I don't think that would allow us to do 2 lines to keep the cars
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's a long driveway at the middle school. That'd probably be, like you said, ideal. They can kind of
Long,
just
you could have plenty of cars there and never have it impact traffic
right.
anywhere
Yeah.
else, which is the reason we thought that would be good.
Yeah. No, that whole thing
even though
sounds
we're-
good.
All right. That's it.
We don't need a motion on that, do we?
No.
No. Well, no. That was just an update so you knew what was going on
Thank
and the
you.
date and the time and the maybe where.
Next on the agenda, we have an installer's permit for Bill Gartwald.
Yes. Bill, are you on the phone?
No, this is Terry. I'm here.
Oh, Terry's here. I gave him the information. Maybe he has, I don't know why he hasn't called in. I can give you the information on it though. So he's an engineer and he wants to become an installer for a plan that he has done. We haven't started doing tests yet and he wasn't happy about that. And I told him he would be at the back of the list when we do start doing tests, because obviously we're going to do it in order of who we've received first. I mean, there's one person, Gordon Lincoln, has been waiting since the beginning of March, or the middle of March, when this whole thing happened. And I don't believe, I'm not sure how many current licenses he has, because he is an engineer, but I thought he was going to call in, so I didn't really pay that much attention to it. Hang on, let me see if he did the application yet. He has licenses that have expired that he attached.
No current.
I think they're all expired. Kevin and I have discussed maybe having him proctor. All of these licenses are expired that he's attached. Of perhaps Kevin proctoring tests. We talked about it last week. Yeah, he doesn't have any current licenses that he's applied for, that he's attached. It's just a matter of setting up the times. But there are probably 10 or 12 people that need to take tests.
Is town hall open back up, or is it just by appointment?
By appointment. Yep.
So they could set up appointments to come in and take the test.
Yes. And Kevin volunteered to help. And with Mr. Gartwald, without any licenses, do you want to allow him to take the test? What do you want to do? He's the engineer on the plan that he wants
So
to install.
he's going to be the engineer and the installer.
Correct.
Didn't we agree that they could come in front of the board? That's what we had set it as before.
He was supposed to come in before the board. I sent him the contact information for this meeting for him to call in, and I don't know why he didn't.
I would assume as an engineer, he's probably you know, available to, to do meetings over the phone and stuff. I'm sure he's done them before. A lot of engineers are kind of used to doing that now.
Mhm.
So I would think that if he's not here and can't represent himself, that we really can't move forward with doing anything.
All right, so I'll mention it to him and I'll have him come to the next meeting if he wants to.
How
Want me
does
to do
everyone
that?
else feel? How does everyone else feel about that? But
Yeah, I mean, we'd at least like them, at the meeting,
right.
address questions.
Okay.
Didn't we discuss the requirement for the license?
Yes, they could come before the board
Right,
and sit to take the test. And he's not here, so.
Yeah, it was going to be a case by case basis. Let them come in, kind of like an interview process. If they didn't have the licenses to allow them to
Right,
sit,
the-
so they could come in and
the
have an open
required.
discussion. Right, exactly. So if he
Exactly.
can't attend the meeting, I guess we really can't move forward for him. So
Exactly, we at least have to hear from them.
Sent him
Yeah.
the contact information last Thursday at 1:48 in the afternoon, and I never heard from him, so.
Teresa, when did his licenses expire?
Some of them were 2019. Most of them were 2019. One of them was January of 2020.
Okay, so they're current, sort of current. They just
Well, a year
renew
ago.
them.
Yeah.
6 months ago, and
Okay.
2 of them were a year ago.
But it's not 5 years ago. That's,
No.
okay.
So we'll just table that till you can get in touch with him and
Okay.
ask him to show up for the next meeting.
Okay.
sounds fair to me.
Next on the agenda is the fee waiver for the Rocklin Rotary.
Yes, they had a drive-in movie at McQuan last the 6th.
Friday?
Last Thursday, the
Thursday.
6th, I believe it was, at McQuan. And it's supposed to be a fundraiser for Kiwani. And the Rotary wanted to know if the $25 fee could be waived.
A fundraiser for Kiwani.
Yes.
Yeah, I had spoken to people at Kiwani. This is something that they're, it was a drive-in thing, and they did have the middle McQuan School. And I said we'd bring it before the board and ask for the waiver of the fee for this. They plan on doing 2 or 3 of those. And we just thought, maybe a good thing to do for the people.
I got no problem with waiving a $25 fee for it.
So it would be, they want to have more of them, so it would be 25 times however many they want to have.
Yeah.
So you're saying that we would just give them a waiver for all their events?
For the
Yes, it's for
drive-in.
it's for the Rotary.
Right.
The Rotary is sponsoring it for Kiwani.
Yeah, I mean, I got no problem with that.
I guess the way their enterprise fund is set up, they have to do it this way. They can't generate funds for themselves, so they have to be sponsored.
Right.
I would need a vote.
I would make a motion that we waive the $25 fee for the Rotary Club.
I'll
For
second.
how many times?
For the drive-in.
For every time they have that movie event.
Okay.
Or would you say whenever they have fundraising events for Camp Kiwani, or how do you want to put it?
Let's keep it to the movies for right now.
Okay. I think they'll have other events. They'll come back.
That's fine.
Event. So you want to waive the temporary food permit for drive-in events hosted by the Rotary for Kiwani?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take a roll.
I need a second.
You need a second. You need a second.
I'll second that. We'll do a roll call, Arlene,
Yes?
Kevin.
Oh, did Kevin drop off?
You might have.
Yeah, I don't see him.
Maybe he'll try to get back in.
There he is.
Okay. Kevin?
I'm back.
Welcome back.
We need a roll call for the motion to waive the permit fees, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm a yes.
Did you hear the conversation? Okay. And I'm a yes.
And I'm a yes also.
Okay.
Next item is the well permit for 782 West Washington.
Yes, I sent that to you guys yesterday afternoon.
Did everyone get a chance to look at the plans?
Yep.
Any questions?
I did look at the plan. My only question is, so we've issued a septic permit on that. The application has been done and it's all approved.
I think that's actually the Bill Gartwald. I do
Right.
believe.
So we approved that based on it being town water. Typically, just from my experience, typically they won't issue it until the well is actually installed to verify, because they have a proposed location, but to verify that they actually hit water and that's where the well goes, and to make sure it meets the setbacks. It looks like they have plenty of room, but
I seen the application was approved by conservation.
Well, it's all, the application is all approved and everything. Hold on one second, I just had to pull the plan.
right, it was approved
Yeah,
based off
the
putting
conservation
in
signed
town
off
water.
on the well permit, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right,
right.
no, I'm saying the septic installer permit had been signed off on based on it being town water.
Oh, I see.
So there's no setback it's now they have a well that they have to meet setback requirements on. So if, obviously they're gonna have to put the well more than 100 feet away from the leaching field and 50 from the tank, which is a requirement. But typically that permit wouldn't be issued until the well was installed. Well, what I'm saying is they have 100 feet on the plan from the proposed location. However, if they don't hit water there and they have to move the well, now they have an issue. That's my point.
Right.
So typically what
How do
towns,
they do the well? But how do they do the well without permission to do it?
I'm not talking about the well permit. I'm talking about we already issued the septic installer permit for that property
Oh.
based on
When
it
was
being
that
water.
done,
So
though?
I think that now we have to revisit that we already issued the septic permit, or maybe put a temporary hold on that until the well's actually installed and it's verified the location of where it's actually installed.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But
That's my only point. I have no problem with the well permit. I just have a problem with the permit we've already issued with the septic permit. That now I think we have to revisit that.
That's a good catch, Kevin.
When was the septic permit
The
approved?
septic permit was issued December of 19, December 16th, 2019.
So when was that?
This just came in.
So the house already exists or no?
It's a new construction.
Right?
I believe it's framed and sided.
Yeah.
It's
It's
new?
not, I don't think it's complete yet.
Typically, what towns will do if you're installing a well for domestic use, they won't issue the septic permit on the property until the well is actually installed in that location. You of course have a proposed location and you intend to be 100 feet away or greater, or 150 in some towns. But until the well is actually installed and the well actually works, the tests come back fine on the well results, then you can actually say I have the well here. But to have a proposed location and to be approved something off it, typically they won't. That's my only concern with the well.
Okay.
So do you guys want to approve the well permit? But that will put a hold on the septic install?
I think until the well results come back and the location of it is, actually surveyed and updated, that it goes from a proposed location to a physical location, I think we need to put a hold on the septic installer permit for that property.
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin, I see that on the plan itself, it says, domestic water,
Yeah.
town water, and now this other permit comes from a well,
Right.
potable water, so that does put it, okay, no septic permit until the well is in and tested.
Correct.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes, please.
I'll entertain a motion for
Okay.
conditions set forth for a well permit for 782 Washington, requiring that the physical location of the well permit be determined before the septic is installed
And well test results to come back.
and the well test results come back. Thank you.
I'll second that.
I second that.
Yes, it's West,
Who-
it's
who
West
didn't you make
Washington.
it?
Well, one can make it,
Oh.
one can second it.
No, I thought Kevin made it.
He did.
So I'll second it. All right, I'll second it.
Very good. Roll call, Arlene?
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also.
So I'm saying that it's, by approving the well permit, it's placing a halt, it's halting the approval of the septic plan until such time as, well testing has been received.
Yeah, I would just say it's pending, you know, like you said, we just have to put a temporary hold on it until, because they're changing the water supply source. So we just have to put a temporary hold on that until they meet the requirements.
Right,
We
right.
get a physical location and the test results.
But their installer has no license anyway, so they're kind of involved with that anyway, so.
That's true.
We're gonna go round and round and round.
Funny how that happens.
Right.
All right, item 6 is septic plans for 165 Liberty Street.
And that's why I'm here. Terry McSweeney.
Hi, Terry.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Has everyone had a chance to look over the plans?
Trying to bring mine up now. Oh.
I did.
Hi. Heath.
One thing I did notice, Terry, is,
Yeah.
now that you're asking for distance to groundwater,
Yeah.
it's a deed restriction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that needs to be noted on the plan.
Okay, I can do that.
And I just noticed that right before the meeting started.
I'm trying to blow this up on my computer. Would you mind, Terry, just run us through this
I
just
know.
real quick?
Yeah, no, not at all.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to read it and zoom in, and it's just kind of difficult, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, Teresa, it's a sieve analysis anyway, so it's basically deed restricted anyway. All right, so it's a proposed Title V upgrade for Heidi's Hollow Ice Cream and the private residence next to. Basically, let's see. So we dug some test holes, took a sieve sample because of the elevation of the water, came up with an 86% sand. So it's a class 1 soil with a loading rate of 0.74. We put together a plan. It's a gravity system, tank, distribution box, leaching field, plastic chambers, and the 1,000-gallon grease trap. Let's see. It's been through Jim Donovan. He came back with a number of required revisions, which we made, and we got back to you. You have a letter from me describing the nature of the revisions that were made. We basically, so our original plan, I screwed up on the arithmetic on the original plan. So basically, it's an old structure, so it would be extremely complicated to change the invert elevation where it leaves the building. So in order for us to get the gravity system that we're proposing, we need the groundwater separation reduction from 5 feet, required 5, because it's an 86% sand, down to a 4.5 feet. In addition, I said the other variance that we need is the sieve analysis. I don't know what else I can tell you about it. As I said before, it's been through Jim. There were a number of revisions that he wanted, and we've given those revisions back to you. In addition, we're scheduled to be in front of the Conservation Commission at their next meeting. We ran into an issue with the abutter notification because we're abutting 2 condominium complexes, and we have close to 200 abutters that needed to be notified. So that's going to take a bit of time. We're in the process of putting that together, and we'll be on the agenda for the next conservation hearing, which is a couple weeks out.
Did everyone have a chance to take a look at note 7 on Mr. Donovan's assessment?
I did.
Is that the grease trap comment?
Yeah,
Yep.
just to comment on that. I think it's in obviously the best interest of the property owner to do that and maintain the grease trap, because they're really only hurting themselves by ruining the system they're going to put in the ground. And I think Terry's obviously going to educate them on the importance of that, but
Yes.
I don't think there's anything in Title V that requires us to have a contract in place, nor do we really have the manpower to follow up on that.
But may I interrupt?
Actually, Kevin, I think you're wrong. I think they are required to have a maintenance contract in place. But I did add some additional notes to the plan. Grease trap notes, grease trap, and this is basically what it says: is the grease trap must be inspected by the site owner at least monthly. Grease trap to be cleaned by a town licensed septic hauler whenever the level of grease is 25% of the effective depth of the tank, or at least every 3 months, whichever is sooner, and that's one of the requirements of Title V.
Right, quarterly, right, but.
Right.
And can I interject for 1 second?
Sure.
In order to get a food permit, if somebody has a grease trap, I require that they submit the contract at the time of permitting for their food permit. So they can't even get a food permit unless they have a contract, and I have a copy of the contract.
Okay. And then just to complete what I was talking about before, note number 3 on the grease trap notes is site owner must maintain all inspection and pumping records for the trap. And then note number 4 is a fully executed pumping maintenance contract with a licensed septic hauler must be provided to the Hanson Board of Health at the time of system installation and prior to putting the system into use. So I think we've pretty much covered whatever we can cover with respect to the grease trap requirements. And that's right on the plan.
Yeah.
So basically, because it's on the plan, you guys can't issue the certificate of compliance until Teresa already has that in hand.
Yeah, no, I'm completely fine with that. I just, I didn't think we really had to get involved with the contract, but that's fine if we want to do that.
Yeah. Kevin, it used to be the language of Title V that you had to have the contract in place. I'm not certain if it's still there. I'll see if I can take a look while we're talking, but as I said before, it used to be there. I'm not certain if it still is.
Yeah, the quarterly servicing of it sounds familiar, but I didn't know as far as if that had to be actually followed up on our end. I guess it would have to be submitted with pump records, I guess, same as anything else, and they'd have to be, I guess, if ever requested from the owner, they'd have to furnish them, I guess, but.
Any other questions concerning the plans?
No, I don't have any concerns, and I think as far as the maintenance contract and everything, that's fine. That's great. If they're fully cooperative and want to do that, that's great. I don't have any issues.
Offer that. I think it's it's good to have in place, but in all honesty, I think it's slight overkill on this particular piece of property because it's a takeout ice cream store. It's not as if they're frying French fries in the back room.
Right.
But nonetheless, it's the language is there and the grease trap is there.
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the septic plans for 165 Liberty.
I'll second that.
No, you're making the motion.
Oh, I thought he just
He's
made the
asking
motion.
for a motion.
Oh,
No, he said he's asking for a motion.
sorry, I almost
So
kind of.
you're going to make the motion, and I will second.
And we'll do a roll call. Eileen?
I'll make a motion
Yes.
to approve the plan for 165 Liberty Street, pending conservation approval.
Very good. And Eileen's
I'll
a
second
second on that? And we'll
Second it,
go to roll call. Eileen?
Yeah.
And the restriction notation.
And a deed restriction notation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Kevin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. Thank you, Terrence.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Next is old unfinished business, if there's any.
I had a question. Where are we with contract for recycling?
Okay, that's still being addressed by John, who hasn't had a chance to catch up there. He had sent it to the attorney again, but we figured we'd do it ourselves. Like I said, he hasn't had a chance to catch up. He just got back from vacation this week, so it's something we should address in the next week or so. Because there's some things at the transfer station we want to look at. You know, Todd's got us looking at some equipment and how we're handling the equipment part of it. So hopefully, John, we can handle this within the next week or so to take care of this contract. And also, Todd's looking to make sure we just do a 6-month extension too.
Okay.
That sounds scary.
And I had a question.
It is, but
It does, because I wasn't sure. I thought the original one contract that we had was up June 30th. So I don't know. Did we sign a temporary? Did we push it out? Is it just as at will?
I think it's at will.
At will,
John
yeah.
was handling it. It did expire June 30th, the extension.
Okay.
Right. And John was handling it. And I don't know that he's talked to them about it. And I'm awaiting the July bill to see what it looks like.
Yeah,
Okay.
between
Claire
that,
had said that
and everything, he just hadn't had a chance to
Yeah.
address it with them. So
Claire had said that she was willing to help him with that. And at one point she had said information about 3 different companies in this area that provide that service to make sure that we were getting the best that we could, and based on other of the 20 towns, what they're doing and what they're paying. So I don't know if he ever reached out to Claire, because it's something
That I don't.
I don't have that information.
He never mentioned
you have
it.
that
I don't know.
information?
I don't know if he reached out to her or not. He's been crazy busy.
Yeah, well, she sent him something months ago. Saying that
Well, I know he's been
help.
working. He was working on town meeting right up until town meeting, and
Oh yeah,
that was the main
sure.
objective with the schools and everything. So, and town meeting was 2 weeks ago, and he was on vacation last week. So,
Right.
yeah,
Okay, just wondered where that was.
yeah.
I'll try to get in
Thanks,
touch
Mike.
with him, get an answer for you, Arlene.
Well, it's not even an answer. He's got so much going on. It would be nice to be able to use somebody who's dealing with these contracts all the time to help him.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And she had sent the names of 3 different companies that were in this area. And I'd have to go back and I could look and see that might have better prices than what this company is potentially going to say, this is what we want. But I guess once we get the bill, we'll know. I'll just make sure that John has that information again, so that he knows he has more than, he doesn't have that one company he has to deal with, that there are alternatives available for him. And Claire is really good with the contract. She helps all the other towns to make sure that we get what we need and we're not going to pay a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
Or less, I'll just make sure that I find that email, and she's away till Monday anyway, and make sure she follows up with him, because I'm sure he would appreciate the help.
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
think that was it.
Thank you. Any other
Yep.
old or unfinished business?
I don't have any. No.
All right. We'll go on to the agent's report.
Okay. July was a very busy month. A lot of septic systems happening. We've had approximately 12 septic systems going on, and also, most septic systems, the average you're visiting there 6 to 8 times in the course of the start to completion. So we've been pretty busy with that. We also have the proposed system for Shaw's. That's in and out for review. And closing in on Dakota Partners, the 40B project on Phillip Street there. Finally, the engineers got the credit land squared away, and the agreement on the how the credit land is going to be used, and the regulatory plan for the credit land in the floodplain and not in the regulated floodplain. So we've moved quite along with that. So they're supposedly passing papers Wednesday or Thursday on that project. So we'll actually have the filings, and they'll probably, looking for a building permit now, but hold the building permit up till we get all this easement and the legality of the easement and the credit land squared away. And then after that, we'll be able to issue the permit. So that's going, I said Shaw's plans for review. Handling a bunch of complaints here and there as far as face mask, crowds, in between inspections. I'm out there every day looking at different things. Fields, a lot of the fields have been marked. The town's marking fields, the leagues are marking the fields. So with complaints that have been addressed. Looking at a few of the bodies of water, well, Frank, the cyanobacteria is headed back to us. They're being cautious, looking at where it's coming from and where it's heading. So that's an important part of what we're doing here. Also, reviewing an area of Hanson, towards the Whitman line. We have migration of some rodents. Working on that with the Whitman health agent. They seem to have it under control, but there's been a few people calling about that. So I would say that's definitely under control. VCA system, that's one of the systems that's done. They're progressing rapidly over there. They're doing a good job. They did the water line and everything. And we already talked about the food permits and the problems with that, so we get that squared away. Transfer station, that's doing pretty good. We had Chris was out for a while, so that he's back and working again. So we've got an issue with propane tanks. We're calling propane company constantly. See if they get out. They were kind of overfilled with propane. Things are moving on rather smooth. Reviewed high school the other day with Alexis from Whitman as far as them potentially opening up, going through their plan and the things they're taking and what they're taking into consideration as far as bringing kids back. So looking pretty good there. We also have a lot of complaints, people saying, not distancing, wearing masks. So out there trying to, be visible to people. Hey, you should be wearing a mask, social distance. People starting to get lax and, out there again. We're, crowding. We've got a complaint of, restaurants being too crowded, to address them. And these are addressed all times of the day and late afternoon. So, spreading things out quite a bit here. But other than that, everything's, seems to be moving along pretty good. The cold water's tested pretty good the last few weeks, so it's in good shape there. And we are testing that. So I think we're working all right. Yesterday also did the revised guidance as far as the governor's orders and trying to maintain everybody to stay in compliance with the governor's orders because, like he says, people are starting to get lax and things are going to happen. So, I think we've done a pretty good job. The office has been pretty busy. Day-to-day business is going, quite well. I feel that, we're being very efficient here, not being totally open to the public now. But, I think we're doing very well here. It's been busy, and I think we're very efficient. So, is there any questions?
Where do we sit on the triple E? Are we moderate? Are we high?
We're moderate. We were low, and they moved us to moderate.
Okay.
There's been no talk of closing fields, right?
That was my next question. Yeah.
No, not yet. The selectmen's meeting tonight, I think Kenny's supposed to come up here in a few minutes to discuss that because where we are moderate is...
They're in a meeting.
Are you in a meeting already?
Yeah, the meeting started at 5.
Oh.
Well, it's starting at 5.
Right, so a little bit late there, so...
Last year, you guys did a vote so that if it got to a certain level, the fields would automatically be closed. You could do that again if you chose. So I think after moderate, the next level is high, and after that is severe.
At what level would we feel comfortable closing them? The high level?
The high level, yeah. That's what other towns are doing. They're closing it high.
So
yeah, and I know that the baseball is done on Friday. Is there anybody else using the field?
Baseball's not done on Friday. They have games next week.
They're not doing playoffs this week? No, Little League maybe? I don't know.
Yes. Yep. Only because my son plays. That's the only reason I know. They have
okay.
The championship. They have a game Friday, and then they're playing next week. I don't know how many days. So I think it'll probably be done within the next, not including this week, the following 2 weeks. And then
Should
they'll
we
be
make-
done.
What,
Do we
baseball?
make a motion saying that if the level is increased to high, that the fields will automatically be closed?
Yeah, from
Well,
dusk to,
can we close the fields or doesn't usually the selectmen? We would
it's
recommend.
always been the Board of Health with the exception of last year. Since I've been
Okay,
here.
all right. Yeah, all right, then, yeah, when it gets
Just
high,
doing it this
definitely.
way, you don't have to do an emergency meeting.
That's what I'm saying, it'll be in place.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I'll
I'll make a
entertain,
motion that I will make a motion that if the triple E, risk gets to the high level, that we close, Parks and Fields.
This is Kevin. I'll second that motion.
we'll take a roll call on that. Arlene?
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yes.
And I agree, yes.
Triple E and West Nile virus risk.
Okay, I will include triple E and West Nile.
Very good. Gil, we all set with the agent's report?
Yeah, I think I've, pretty much covered everything. Like I say, the big thing now is like with the governor's, thing today, compliance, and they've added, other enforcing agencies to help local boards. If you listen to him today, he's actually given the, police authority to handle public and private gatherings and other things. You can go on the website and look at what he's done, which I think, Hanson's in good shape as far as, what we have going on. Everybody's in compliance, the numbers are way down, so, we just hope for the best and keep trying.
Great. Thank you very much. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
And we'll do a roll call. Arlene?
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. Thank you very much, everybody.